Alrighty, what do we got here? For draw, there's Seer, Lost City, Root Cellar, Apothecary, uh, Blacksmith, sympathized with Elder, in the Townsfolk pile. Want to draw villages, there's Lost City, Sacrifice is something of a village, but basically Lost City. Trashing, Sacrifice, plus buy, Farmer's Market, plus Importer or Kiln for gains. Okay. Hmm. First thing in my mind is whether to go for Apothecary. Seems okay. Thinning's a little bit limited, so you could sacrifice your estates and use Apothecary to deal with the coppers. I guess there's arguably some minor synergies here in that you could use Apothecary to like line up your seer in the right order. I think Apothecary looks a lot better when there's stuff that synergizes with knowing the top of your deck. And there's a little bit of that, but not a lot. Seer, for example, actually maybe is more of an anti-synergy than a synergy because Seer would want you to trash your coppers aggressively to get them out of the deck. I I'm thinking probably no on the Apothecary. Uh, I have the 2/5. I made a note of that and then forgot it. Well, your Town Crier seems for sure better than nothing. And this turn, I think just discarding and buying a sacrifice is actually pretty fine. Being a pickpocket is going to hit every turn. I think the only thing giving favors here is the 5 starting favors you have with Importer. There's some argument for conserving them, and I want to open with a thinner anyway. I think taking Seer also seems reasonable. Those are the two things on my mind. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started with the thinning. This can be a Seer. Unfortunately for me, looks like breppert has quite the nice draw over there. Sacrifice Importer, found Importer turn 3. Didn't collide it. Don't love to see that. That's actually kind of funny. The Lost City draws a card immediately. It's going to get hit twice by getting a pickpocket unless I spend a favor here, which I don't think I really need to. It's really not that important to conserve the favors, even in a case where there's just no way to get more. Uh, if it were going to noticeably jumpstart my turn, I think I would spend it. But it just hasn't mattered super much so far. Here, for example, might be a decent case for spending a favor. If I draw a copper off the top, it gets me to 5. So, like, I don't know, roughly 6/8 odds, I think. Anything but an estate seems like a pretty good draw. Not exactly. I'll do it. And I will do this. And I'm gonna say Piazza. You can resolve Piazza before the game pickpockets, which means I'll trigger the shuffle first. And then if I discard the estate, it's gonna miss the shuffle, which is kind of nice. Probably need an importer at some point. You want to gain 5 cost things. Alas, I think I'm looking at all my actions, so 0% chance of Piazza here. Do I want to spend a favor? I'm gonna say no. I think right now I want gains, which means either importer or farmer's market. So I don't really need to hit a big number here. The reason to spend the favor on top of just hitting a slightly higher price point is whichever junk card I put back into the shuffle, I will be triggering the shuffle. And I don't think it's that important. I think I'm slightly behind here. Yeah, I'm behind. It's already got the double importer stuff going. I don't even have my first one yet. Yeah, so it won't matter. Second importer. I think the bottom card's a copper, if I'm not mistaken. Hmm. All right, well, here I'm definitely doing Piazza first. And now I'm definitely spinning the favor. I don't want to discard a million and one cards. National State, play importer, gain a silver. Don't rotate. And one more Lost City. In these contexts where it doesn't trigger a shuffle, I think it probably makes more sense to resolve Gang of Pickpockets first. The main case for doing Piazza first would be if I hit sacrifice to copper, then I could resolve Pickpocket free because my hand would already be four cards. If I hit any of the draw cards, then I have a larger hand. I think there's a decent chance that I draw my deck here. In which case, I think the thing I should be gaining off of this importer is one of the other three gainers. Or one of the three gainers. A second importer, a farmer's market, a kiln. Probably not kiln. I don't have any good targets for kiln quite yet. No, that's not entirely true. But, like, if I could kill a Seer or a Lost City this turn, I would like it kiln. So I think the odds that I have a leftover draw card are low. So maybe just one more importer for now. These are farmers markets. I get two things immediately. Importers a gain every other turn. If I have an excess of money, which I actually might at this point with the silver in the deck and the sacrifice being, yeah. Hmm. Let's, I'm gonna go ahead and do Piazza quarter farmers market, and I'll split the favor. I want to make sure I find that farmers market. Rotate. Okay. So we're gonna 8 money as is. We could do Town Crier for 2, sacrifice a state by 2 5s. Do Town Crier for a second silver, sacrifice a state by a 5 and a 3. I could gain a silver, sacrifice a copper, do a 5 and a 4. Wouldn't mind adding a kiln this turn, perhaps. Is that overly ambitious? Argument against kilns, I'm going to have one more junk card on my deck. Not junk card, stop card on my deck with importer next turn. It also requires one more action, which leaves me a little less flexibility to play the kiln. I think my deck could probably support a kiln. I think. We'll find out. It is surprisingly difficult to mid-turn play a terminal action card, then go back to playing draw cards. But I think I can swing it. We'll find out momentarily. Okay, it's apparently going to hinge in large part on what's on top of my deck. Copper on top would not be desirable. Breppert this game. Farmer's Market and the Kiln. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. $12. It was a big number. Yeah, I think I'm just a bit behind. I think it's we're doing similar things, and my opening was just a little bit slower. I think sacrifice importer is probably the better opening on average. And certainly, if you find the importer turn three and the sacrifice turn four, it's a much better opening. Alas, it was not available to me. Okay, well, that's fairly helpful, I'd say. I'll spin the favor, make sure I can draw things. And am I printing a copy of Seer? I think I'd rather copy the Lost City, if I can find it. There it is, okay. Let me double check. Yeah, I think that's gotta be right? If I had an extra action, killing on like Importer or Farmer's Market, it'd be nice if I could play all four of those things, but I can't. So I think I'll just take the extra village. Do I want another silver? Buys are going to be broken straight to my deck. I'm looking at 7, 11, more money than I possibly need here. I was going to say no to the silver. I think I'm lost. Um, this turn for sure, I'll want to use kill on the farmer's market because I'll need a third buy, I would think. And probably Porter gains a second kill. It's going to get the 4 victory points from farmer's market, which I'd say is probably an upside. Wouldn't mind scoring right around now. There are cases where you'd rather not pop the farmer's market. I don't think this is one of them. At least his three importers are spaced awkwardly. Obviously, you'd ideally rather not play them all on the same turn. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Let's see, getting a pickpockets first. Yeah, that was a sad hit. I'll take a second kiln, but with that on top, I'm not sure that I'm gonna be able to play it all. We shall find out. Okay. Bottom card, I believe, is the final estate in my deck. Yes. Okay, I think this is pretty clear then. I will draw said estate, get an extra farmer's market, and I trash the estate or the coppers. I'm looking at 4, 7, 12 money. Trashing a copper gets me to 13. I think I'd rather trash the copper. Copper's also worse in the deck for purposes of seer. This gets me province, and I think I'll take the last lost city. It gives breppert slightly fewer targets for his kilns. It's actually kind of awkward if I hit a kiln off the top of Piazza, because I have nothing in my hand that I could actually gain with it. Breppert has spent his final favor, which makes sense. He had a 7 card hand. Gotta watch out for piles, but I think gains are a little bit hard to come by here. There's an imminent pile threat or anything. It's definitely his last farmer's market, so at least I'll get the 4 victory points this time. Both the 4 money and the 4 BP one seem quite good here. Uh, three in his deck, one in trash, two in mine. Good game. Gets first. Jinxed myself. Yeah, I predicted that. Unfortunately, can't gain Town Crier, even if it's in the pile. Oh, they actually aren't in the pile, but if they were in the pile, it would have to be on the top for the gain to work successfully. And obviously, Lost City is empty. Alas. Oh, is this just going to be a dud? A dud, dud, dud? That's no good. I'm just going to resign.